On the line, I have a brother who I'm really looking forward to chatting with today. He has a very interesting story. He was present for a very big moment in West Coast hip hop history, and we're going to talk about that later on. Ladies and gentlemen, on the line, I have Big Capone. What up, man?
What's happening, man? What's going on, everybody?
Yeah, nothing much. Thank you so much for joining the program, man.
Oh, it's all good, man. I appreciate it. I like your content, man. I enjoy the channel.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, man. Well, like I mentioned just a while ago, you were present for a very big moment in West Coast hip hop history, but we're going to get into that later on. First, I want to take it all the way back, get to know Big Capone and, you know, who you are, where you come from and all that. So let's go all the way back. Tell everybody where you grew up.
I grew up in Compton, Watts, in North Long Beach. Born in 1968. So, yeah, I've been around that area for years, and I moved out in about 86 when I moved down here in San Diego. That's where I'm at, but, you know, I go back home every other month.
Cool. Well, let's talk about your upbringing, man. You've seen a lot in L.A. You've seen it go through a lot of changes. So let's take it back to Compton and Watts and North Long Beach. Talk to us about what let's talk to us about what your upbringing was like.
Typical, man. My mom is from Louisiana, my dad from Louisiana, but they met out here. My grandmother and them all was living in Compton. Back then, we was raised in, we had a lot of houses. We didn't really move into apartments until like the late 80s or late 70s. But I was raised in Watts. We used to go to Will Rogers Park. That's where I learned how to swim. We used to go to the park by the zoo back in the days on holidays, stuff like that. I grew up in the street, man, the same like everybody else, rough street. Born in 68, so I got into them streets about 11 years old, man. That's when I started running the streets, and basically, same as everything, gangs, you know. I moved in my neighborhood in 79. I was 12 years old. I started claiming the neighborhood. We on the other side of Greenleaf. We considered North Long Beach, but I was raised in Compton, so I hung and still ran with Compton. So that's why I met EAZY. But, you know, we on the other side of Greenleaf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's take it slow, man, because I'm always intrigued about, or, you know, I like to know what was going on in the 70s. What do you remember the, you know, early to mid 70s, you know, Compton being like in Watts and everything? I know there were still white people sprinkled out too, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was still white people, but it was mostly, from my growing up, I didn't really see white people unless it was an insurance man or a policeman. It was Mexicans, and it was Samoans, and it was blacks from where I went. And I was raised up listening to old music on the radio, man. Like, you know, we used to do a lot of outside. Like now, kids today don't go outside a lot. We stayed outside. We rode bikes, man. We did a lot of flipping. We used to have flip clubs, you know, where we get on the sidewalk and do flips. We was flipping on the sidewalk, like no mats or nothing. Baseball. When I grew up, it was a lot of baseball, man. We wasn't too many people playing soccer or basketball a lot. In my neighborhood, we was more baseball and football. And, we'll easily break out a baseball game in the middle of them streets, man. Regular streets. And we rode bikes and basically the typical kids, man, being kids. Back then, we didn't need seat belts. We can ride in the back of trucks.
Yeah.
We have a lot of black-owned stuff back then. You know, my grandmother and them and my grandfather and them, they all had their own money. So back then, was a lot of black-owned stuff that you don't see no more, and a lot of black people had a lot of homes. I can remember the fishman. I used to work for a guy. He taught himself the fishman. He'd get fresh fish, catch them, put them in his truck, put them in some ice chests, and me and my brother would go house to house through Watts and Compton, knocking on doors saying, "The fish man here." People come outside and buy the fresh fish. His brother was the fruit man. He sold fruit by the bag. We had a bucket bag man in Watts. He walk around and say tomatoes, potatoes, a bucket bag. I remember the donut trucks. Remember them donut trucks? They hung them yellow trucks. Come out there, pull them drawers out, get them donuts, and also the ice cream truck called the Dixie Doodles, where you get a cone ice cream for 19 cents, 15 cents, grab bags for 10 cents. Man, Compton and Watts was beautiful back in them days, man.
Man, what a shame, especially all the black businesses that ended up leaving. A lot of them left, from what I understand through my years, during the
Yeah,
riots, the 1992 riots.
yeah,
They tried to hang in there, but they were just like, I'm out of here. Now you walk around Compton, it's all Latino, it's all Asian owned, and no hate at them. They just saw an open market and they came in and did their thing. But what a sight it must have been, man, to be walking around down the street and just see black business after black business after black business. I can't even imagine that, homie. It's crazy.
yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Like my oldest daughter lives in Atlanta, and she says that's how it is out there. But I was telling her, it used to be like that out here. Like, man, the barbershops, the barbecue place, man, they had the best barbecue, the best soul food in the world was in Compton, man. Let us tell it, because a lot of people from the South moved to California, so they was bringing in recipes, man. Everything you see was black owned, man. It was beautiful. I remember the days when it was so net tight that my mama could send me to the store with a note to get cigarettes and a sip of wine.
Oh yeah. I was still in that generation too. I'm in my mid-40s, so I remember that also, man. Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, she'll send a note. She'll be like, Miss Wayne, then keep a bottle of what you used to smoke, Virginia Slims, and me a 50 bin, and here go my number, and they'll give it to us. No problem. Give it to us and let us take it to our moms, man.
When they say the good old days, that's the good old days, man. Just trust and community, and the liquor store owner knew your mom, and then people knew each other and they talked to each other. Now, shit, we're lucky if we even know our next door neighbor's first and last name.
For real, man. The place I'm living at right now, I've been here 8 years. I probably know 3 people in my complex, and that's sad.
Yeah.
But I'm a quiet person. I say it myself anyway. But still, though, and back in them days, I was in an apartment. The whole apartment was like family. The whole apartment would whoop your butt if you did something wrong. Or the whole street, you would get a butt whooping from the old lady down the street, and then on the way to auntie, and then she'll tell your mama when your mama get off work, she'll whoop your butt.
Man. Well, let's talk about the 70s, man. 70s, 71, 72 is when the Crips and Bloods just really started hitting the street heavy. When was the first time? You said you were about 11 when you started hitting the streets, 12 or whatnot. But even before that, when do you remember hearing about Crips and Bloods?
I remember hearing about Crips and Bloods. I think I was about 6 years old. Maybe I was living in the Grandy. I've been in Compton. It was the Grandies by the Compton.
Yeah, OG Crips set.
A lot of people don't know Compton have an airport, but yes, Compton does have an airport.
That private.
Yeah, and I remember I have a brother that's 9 months younger than me, so we kind of what they call Irish twins. And me and him, you go to a school called Longfellow. I was 5. I was about 6. He was 5. My mama turned her back. We'll sneak down them stairs. I grabbed my little brother, and we go. She knew the people at the school, so they used to bring us back home all the time. We'd go with a pamper and a T-shirt at that school. It was called Longfellow or Birch, one of them schools, I remember. And I remember gangs back then, man. I didn't know what it was, but I had an older brother that used to tell me about it. He used to claim a gang they used to call Petticoat Crips. I don't care. That's a set. You have to be a triple OG to remember that. But I remember that.
Name that set again.
Petticoat Crips. That's what he used to call himself. I know a few guys that said they heard about that back in the day. Yeah, that's what he's claiming. I got an older half brother. I haven't seen him in over 40 years. But yeah, and back then I remember me and my brother growing up, and it wasn't like a shooting, but we remember seeing gangs hanging out with a lot of leather on, golf hats, or fedoras, or Godfather, whatever they call it right now, and we just I used to think they was cool. Man. I was never scared of gangs, But back then, they really wasn't harassing people unless they was in other gangs. You know what I mean? They wasn't messing with people that wasn't gang banging. They respected our mothers and even our dads. If you was older, you had kids. Back then, we wasn't. We had it was a code. You know what I mean? It was a code, man. Civilians was not what they went after or what we went after. But I wasn't gangbanging at that time. There's a big difference now, man. And I just remember, it just had to be like 75, 76. I remember they used to say CC, and they started saying CC Rider in the 80s, But before that, I remember it was just CC, or it's a CCC. Mind you, I'm only 6 or 7, but I got a hell of a memory, and I remember that, man. And I remember they used to say, rib, and I remember the Pyro say, Pyro here. Because I have an uncle that's the original West Side Pyro that grew up on Nestor Avenue, my uncle, and yeah, he's the original, and he's older than me. I remember them days, man. I got a memory like a mug, boy.
All right, so 75, 76, you're 8 years old. You said you decided to join the street life around 11. What was a young Capone doing just before he decided to join a gang? What type of activity were you doing?
I was working at Will Rogers Park with this guy called the Snowman. The snow. He had a snow cone machine in a van, and we used to sell snow cone at Will Rogers Park every day. And he used to pay me $5 a day to stay there all day and help him make snow cones, go get him water, empty stuff, clean around his area, and also to keep the gang bangers away, because a lot of them knew me because I used to play sports at that park, so I knew a lot of people, and I kind of they knew he had me employed, sort of, so they didn't sweat him. So they're like, he's looking out for the little guy, so we ain't gonna mess with him. I can't remember that guy's name, but they called him the Snow Cone Man. He had a black van, and he made it. So I was doing that. I was cutting grass. We had push lawnmowers. Me and my buddy did a push lawnmower. We had one of those little, what they call it, you push around parts in. We had to go door to door, not going to go ask people they want their lawns cut. We charged $7 for front, $10 for front and back. I remember it. And it didn't matter how high the grass was, we'd get it done, man. So I was always a hustler, man. That's what my thing was. I always made money from the age of 7. And then when I moved to my neighborhood, I was painting for my manager. He had an ice cream truck. I was working on his ice cream truck. I was sweeping the apartment. And then I remember around 81, we started pumping gas at our neighborhood gas station. We get 25 to $1 to $2. Some people even gave us $5 just to pump their gas. And I remember that. And that time, I don't think nobody was doing that. This is right when you start having to pay. You know, they used to be that you could pump the gas and then pay later, but this is when they cut that out. And I used to do that, man. So I was a hustler, man. I wasn't really into gangs. And then I moved over there in 79, and from Watts, actually. I moved from Watts and Compton, North Long Beach. And I was to go to school at the 6th grade. I met a lot of guys. We started hanging out. They became my friends. And then eventually I just started playing in the neighborhood.
What was North Long Beach like at that time in the late 70s?
It was a lot different from growing up in Compton and Watts, because they had more white people. And it was like kind of like a culture shock, because when I was coming from Watts and Compton, I didn't have that many white people around me. So when you get to Long Beach, you got these white people using the N-word, disrespectful. So I stayed in a lot of fights, bro. I fought a lot, because I wasn't taking with the hard ER, the N-word, yes. And I wasn't having that, especially around growing up in Compton and Watts. We wasn't taking no losses like that. So I was in the office a lot to fight, and then they had these guys. They call them the Northtown Stoners. I don't even know if they still exist.
I've heard of them.
In North. Oh yeah, they used to get pit Dobermans and chase us with them and stuff like that. So we used to catch them in the hallways and put hands on them. But yeah, they was like it was bad, and I ended up even getting into it with a couple of teachers, because they had some animosity towards me because I was from Compton and Watts, and when I was in Long Beach, I guess the effect I was having on the kids, they were like, "You think you're tough because you're from Compton and Long Beach, and I grew up in this and that," and I'm like, "Whoa!" So I even had to have my mom come up to the school a few times to check some teachers about, like, trying to put their hands on me for no reason, just because of where I was from. Because I wasn't going along with to get along, if you know what I mean. And at this time, in 79, 80, 81, they had just started busing. So now they're busing us from North Long Beach, which is a lot more black people, to the east side of Long Beach. And these are really white areas. This was back then, it was really white areas. So you mean we really got a lot of racism when we was bused from North Long Beach to the east side of Long Beach, because they was not trying to have all these black kids coming to their school. Even the teachers was making jokes, and I mean, we used to really get into some problems with people out there, man. I fought a lot. I ended up getting suspended from the whole Long Beach Unified School District and had to go back to watch because I had almost 22 fights in like 2 semesters.
Damn.
Yeah, I was a scrapper, man.
Wow.
I was a scrap.
Damn. All right, man. It's a weird time in our country, not just the city of Los Angeles, but this is where it started. So it's safe to say this next comment. But, you know, the transition from the early 70s to the early to mid 80s, where you noticed a transition to crack cocaine hitting the streets. What do you remember about that doing to your community specifically when, you know, we went from PCP being the big thing to now crack, and you got gangster rap and you got bigger guns on the street? What do you remember about that time?
I remember that well because we had a few guys, not necessarily from our neighborhood, but lived in our neighborhood that used to smoke PCP a lot. I mean, they always, and that was a big thing in my neighborhood.
Yeah,
PCP.
that shit stinks.
And we ended up losing a couple of guys to that. One of them is a guy named Cuban. He jumped in the water. He used to jump in the water on PCP all the time when somebody saved him, but this one time, nobody was there. He ended up drowning. I remember as a kid, I was about 11, 12. I remember that they pulling him out the gurney like he didn't make it. His stomach blew up. He just a minute, Dr. Police.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm rolling. Police is behind me. Okay. Yeah. So, and I remember I ended up going to juvenile hall when I was 15. For some stuff I did, I ended up getting into it with the Asians. We had a lot of problems with the Asians before the riots. This is in '85.
Oh man, okay, yeah. It was going on back then too, huh?
Yeah. '85, we had a lot of problems with the Asians. So one of these Asian guys at the liquor store ended up hitting one of my buddies. Actually, he hit the guy who gave me my name. He hit him with a bat in his hand because he said he was trying to steal something out the store. So I ended up doing something to him, which I regret later. And to make a funny story, he ended up moving out here, and he ended up being good friends with my mom, and he ended up moving out here as well. And I seen him about 15 years ago. He passed along there, and he was like, I said, man, what are you doing out here? But anyway, I'm going off the subject. But yeah, he ended up hitting my buddy. So I went to jail, juvenile hall. So when I get out, I remember it was July of 1986. I see all these dudes in my neighborhood with all these cars, all these diamonds, all these rings, and I'm like, what's going on? What y'all doing? I got a buddy, I ain't gonna say his name, but he's a good dude, and he introduced me to the rocks. He's like, man, we selling these. Show me a bag. Bunch of little rocks and big rocks. I'm like, man, what is that? He said, man, this is money right here. And I was like, bro, I don't want to touch that, man. I said, I just got out of jail. I was supposed to do a 90-day, what they call it when you go in there for 90 days. I ended up doing 9 months. So I don't want to do anything. I end up telling him after 2 weeks, I see all my friends with corn, money, clothes, and I'm sitting here broke, busted. I'm working with my mom at her job. I'm making $3.25 an hour. I remember that. $3.25 an hour. And this is just 85, 86, so it's not that long ago. And I'm like, man, I need you to show me how to do that. And my buddy showed me he gave me a packet. He said, this is worth $10. This is worth $5. This is worth $20. And if they got 50, give them this. He said, I'm going to give you this. It's $50. I want you to give me $50. You make $100 out of it. And he showed it to me. I started selling. Right in my neighborhood, right out my mama's house, actually. She didn't know it. For a long time, she didn't know it. Because my mom worked so much, she never was home. And that started in 86, man. I got out, and that's when the dope came. I mean, I saw how I was, oh, man. It had the neighborhood with a lot of money, but it had a lot of people messed up, bro. A lot of people.
Yeah.
It was deep, man. Deep.
You know, around that time, and I've talked to several people who were of age around this time, and they've all confirmed or have heard stories that the CIA, I guess, or whoever would park trains, and inside those trains, they drop them off in the hood, and just random trains, doors open, and inside those trains would be a lot of ammunition. And, you know, basically saying, hey, gang members, come and grab these guns, do your thing, and go out on the street. Do you remember hearing anything about that? Could you confirm that? Was it an urban legend? What do you remember about that story specifically?
I remember it was on Willowbrook where the train came. I remember hearing stories, but I've never seen it. I've never been able to actually get no guns from there. But we would have loved that. But yeah, I remember hearing them stories. And we was all. I used to wonder, like we always had legends about people that was balling. We called them balling, like Freeway Rick and a few other more people. I used to wonder how are they getting this stuff so much? Like, where are they getting it from? I always wondered that. Like, where are they getting it from? Why they got so much money? I got 17, 18-year-olds was driving Mercedes Benz back then, and these were the new small ones. They were like, I'm making money. I was making maybe $300 a day back then. Mind you, I'm 15 and 16, but these dudes was making thousands of dollars, and I'm like, how the hell they doing it so easy? Because the police run us off so much, we can only stand outside a certain amount of time before the police come. And I used to wonder. And then when I found out about Freeway Rick, I'm like, yeah, that's what it was. He was basically doing it for the government. But I used to wonder, either they telling on people, because there was a lot of guys that never went to jail, man. And I'm like, I'm not even that big, and they chasing me every day. So it was weird, man. But I've heard about the guns, and yeah, you know how I got them? The smokers used to bring them to me, so I was buying them from the smoker. I was buying my jewelry from the smoker. At one time, I had 22 guns in my house.
Damn.
And the reason I know, because me and my brother counted them. 22 guns. I used to collect them. So, and I was always a gun fanatic. But yeah, I remember that I was getting mine from the smokers. That they were, breaking in military surplus stores. And remember, back in them days, you could actually buy a gun from Walmart or Kmart. Big Five. They called Big Five back then.
Mm-hmm.
You could buy guns from them. So a lot of them was breaking in them stores, getting them like that. I remember you can actually purchase them out of Big Five and Kmart and stuff like that. They sold guns and ammunition. So that's what we got ours from. And then me being who I am, I handed mine out to my homies. Cause, like any other neighborhood, a lot of your homies were smoked out, and you're like, damn, it's making the neighborhood look bad. And it started other wars because you got other neighborhoods saying that you got homies that's on that stuff. So now they think y'all weak, and they try to come in, which is a whole other story about how we got into it with, we consider the hood that was closest to us. So yeah, it goes deep, man.
You joined a North Long Beach set, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So North Long Beach was banging like that pretty much from the beginning. It's safe to say.
Oh, yeah. We were right on Greenleaf too. We on the other side of Greenleaf.
What's your neighborhood called for everybody out there?
Boulevard, North Long Beach Boulevard. We right on Greenleaf and Long Beach Boulevard. On the other side of us was neighborhood and South Side. So back in the days, we used to call ourselves Boulevard Neighborhood, and they used to call themselves Neighborhood Boulevard. So we were like one hood. Even though they were on the other side of Greenleaf, you could catch our homies living in their neighborhood or their neighborhood living in our hood, and we hung out, went to parties. We down there did everything together. So so I know Tick and Bub, Bodacious Bub. I know all them guys that you guys been interviewing. I know all them guys, man. That Melvin and Kev Mack was interviewing. I know them guys.
Okay.
From the South. Yeah.
That's what's up. It's also known as Northside Boulevard Mafia Crip.
Yep, that's our hood. Northside Boulevard. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, keep going, man. Sorry. Yeah, so North Long Beach was doing it like that in the 70s, huh?
Yeah. This is the early 80s. I moved over there in 79.
That's right, 80s, yeah, early 80s, yeah. Okay.
I got active probably 81, 82, doing my first gang stuff. But yeah, but We was pushing because people from Compton was giving us our stuff, and that's where the guy who I was telling you about, that's how I met him. Who the guy that I was getting my stuff with, their girlfriends were best friends, so they were like in a friendly competition. So that's where I met him at.
Mm.
And, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna get into that because that's a whole story in itself. And we got to get to that. I'm excited about talking about that. But let's see. Okay, so all right, cool. So I want to talk about before we move on to your time in music. I want to talk about your time behind bars. You mentioned Juvie Hall earlier. What Juvie Hall were you locked up in?
All of them.
Okay.
I was in Las Pasadena, Fillmore, Central, and then I went to Camp Gonzales. Okay. And I actually part of that lawsuit they got going on about abuse, making us fight and do all kind of crazy stuff. I'm part of that lawsuit now.
Okay, I've heard about that. McLaren Hall was known for that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and then did you just hear they opened Los Padrinos, and within I think the first 48 hours they already had a big riot and some dude escaped?
I didn't even know. I've not heard.
Man.
I've been on that. I've been suing them for over a year and a half, and my lawyer's been going to court. So I'm part of that lawsuit. But I was one that they had fighting and doing all kind of crazy stuff.
Break that down. Can you talk to me about what you had to experience and what others may have had to experience who aren't voicing their opinion like you are?
They made us fight people, and they was paying us, giving us chocolate. But some people was getting molested. Even the women. They don't want to mention that, but even the women was having sex with teenage boys. They used to watch us take showers and everything. I remember hearing some women watching us take showers, looking at some of the kids. I'm like, girl, look at the size of his, you know what? Like, ooh, he got a grown man. I remember all that, man. So, and then, yeah, man, it was terrible. It was terrible. I was so bad that I had to literally program from the box. The box is where we go when we fight. If we fight, we get it from anywhere from 24 hours to 72 hours. I fought so much and was in so much trouble that I had to live out the box. So it wasn't, I went to school and came back on the box, so I couldn't be around the regular population. And they tried to have me on Thorazine and all that, but, I took it for a little bit and then I stopped. And it was, and like I said, man, I was supposed to do a 90-day observation. I ended up doing 9 months. And I went there. I was a touchdown in all those. They had moving me around because I was fighting counselors like, y'all crazy in here, man. I'm not doing this. It was crazy. I was considered a bad mother F. I mean bad like I'm tough. I mean like I didn't want to listen. That's how I'm hard headed. That type of bad I'm talking about. But yeah, it was terrible, man. They had a lot of these counselors that was straight weirdos. And after I got older, and when I got out, I started selling to these same counselors, bro. That's how stuff changed. When I got older and got out of juvenile hall, the same counselor that was in jail treating us like dirt was buying cocaine from us.
Wow.
I'm like, yeah, look at you now. Look who's now.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a cold piece, man. Yeah, it's truth. That's truth right there, man. Damn. You're 10 years older than me, so I was about 14, if my math is correct, when this whole situation happened. I wasn't able at that time to fully understand how big it was, you know what I'm saying? But now, obviously, as an adult, in hindsight, I understand it is a huge moment in history of Los Angeles. But I'm talking about the LA gang truce. And, what was going on just before that with the LA riots and how that brought, even if it was only for a short period of time, it happened. And it's something that we're still talking about 35, whatever years later. What do you remember about 91, 92, 93 when, starting off with the Rodney King situation and then transitioning maybe to the LA riots and then transitioning to the truce and even touching on Bangin' on Wax, which is just a classic piece that came out of that whole situation. Talk to me.
Yeah, well, I remember it. We was really getting into a lot of racial stuff with the Asians at this time. It was more because they were. It was just getting a lot disrespectful, and we was getting more and more to it. And then the thing happened when the lady shot the black girl in the back of the head.
Latasha Harlins. Yeah,
that happened. But like I said, I was already getting into Asians in my neighborhood in 85, 86 when I went to jail for assault on an Asian store owner. So it was getting to a point where it was like it was always been a problem, and I guess tempers just kept boiling, and we were just getting tired of it. Like, to be honest, it wasn't really over Rodney King, but it was like that was like the boiling point. You know, like we was tired. The police had already been doing that to us, man. If you think about it, in Long Beach, they had the Ron Settles incident where they choked Ron Settles out in Signal Hill, which is Long Beach.
See, I don't even know if I fully remember that story. That's crazy.
He was a football player, and he got choked out in Signal Hill in Long Beach in probably 84, 85 by the police, the Long Beach police or Signal Hill police, and they killed him. He was black. Either he was in college to become a professional, or he was in high school becoming a college player. But I'm thinking he was a college player and was becoming a professional football player, and they choked him out in Signal Hill and killed him. They killed him, and that was. If you look that up, Ron Tuttle, that happened.
I'm looking that up, and I'm gonna do a whole story on it. I don't even know if I knew this story existed. Thank you for that.
That was even before that, and that was still on the plate, man. We still hadn't got enough justice for that. I think they ended up changing the police force or something, but other than that, and they was doing that to us, man. They was like.
Oh, wow. This happened in 1981. Real quick for everybody out there, because I'm going to do a story on this. This is Long Beach history. He was a Cal State Long Beach and Banning High School football player back, I guess, when Cal State Long Beach had a football team. He was arrested by the Signal Hill police in 81, and his life was taken while he was in police custody. They claim they found Settles hanging in his jail cell from a noose created from a mattress cover. Damn, if this doesn't ring true like it does in 2023, I don't know what the hell does. Damn, that's crazy.
And then it come to find out they used a chokehold on him, and that's sort of another reason why they banned that chokehold. That was when that chokehold was being used on him too. And I remember all that. Even when you remind me of stuff like that, it comes to mind.
And they only got $1 million settlement. I mean, I know that sounds like a lot to people, but $1 million for the death of your loved one, that's not a lot of money.
In 81, that was, and yeah, exactly.
And, yeah, probably wasn't. I take that back, but even then, just like, damn, in hindsight, like, damn, $1 million for the death of your child, man.
And the reason they probably took it because we wasn't end up getting anything at that point. They were doing that to us anyway. They were killing us, shooting us, saying we're committed suicide. He shot himself 5 times in the back of the head.
Yeah. How the fuck?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Apparently, there's a movie called The Glass Shield that's based on that. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm going deep into that. Thank you for bringing that up, man. I know that wasn't even a topic, but I appreciate that. But yeah, talk to me about what you remember about that time. 91, 92, 93, or whatever.
We were having race issues anyway. And then this time I was back and forth from San Diego to North Long Beach. So we felt the funk. It was, and then at that point after the Rodney King, people just got tired And I remember I was actually in San Diego, and I was with my kid's mom, and we were watching it, and we were watching the trial. And I told her, I said, you know what? If they find these police not guilty, it's going to be a riot. And she was like, nah, I don't think. I'm saying, no, trust me, baby. I said, I'm from here. I know what's going to happen, and I'll be damned if it wasn't a riot. And she said, you called it out there, baby. Those people are me. Those are me. I know what's going on. We tired of that bullshit. And that's what happened, man. I told her that. And we talked about that. We're not together to talk about that every again. We said they were going to. So it wasn't really over. Well, we were just tired, man. We were just tired. And I ended up coming down there, getting a little stuff. My mom's already stayed, and she was still living in Watts at that time on Colton Street. But after a minute, they stopped letting us come past. If we didn't have a LA address, they was telling us to turn around, go back wherever you came from. They was not playing. But yeah, man, we're just basically tired of the stuff we was going through, man. And that's why a lot of those Asian stores took the blunt of it, because we already had beef with them. We basically took it out on them, which probably wasn't the right thing to do. But yeah, it was like a lot of them was the only ones in our neighborhood with stores. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So then the truce happens, and not only that, but Banging on Wax comes out of that. You're a music lover. You were probably banging at the time. I'm just assuming. Even if not, you had your past of doing your thing. What did you think when you heard this tape called "Banging on Wax," where Crips are on one side, Bloods are on one side, and they're picking their best rappers to go back and forth at each other?
Well, me myself, I wasn't feeling that, man. I wasn't feeling it because at that time I was active, and it was just. I mean, it was cool that they was getting along or whatever. I don't even know how they did the process, where they was in one studio, but I just wasn't feeling that. And then it wasn't until later I listened to that and a few songs off both sides I was liking, but my friends had to give me that tape. I wasn't really into that at that time. Banging on Wax wasn't something that I was into. That whole album just wasn't my style. I'm not. Disrespect is just. I'm not.
No, I've heard other members say that because they were really out in the street. Not saying that the people involved in this weren't, but I guess to see it on TV, to see it in Hollywood, to see it kind of glamorized, it probably was an interesting feeling for somebody who's out in the streets living that life. At that time, you know what I'm saying, at that moment. So I definitely get it. I know we're bouncing all over the place, but I want to go backwards because we're going to get to the EAZY story, and I just want people. I love to keep people waiting at the bait and switch, but we're going to go backwards to '88, and I would love to know your thoughts on when you saw this movie or when you heard about this movie called Colors coming out. And once again, it's a movie about the life that you're living in the city that you live in. What do you remember about just around the time when Colors came out?
When Colors came out, I was in San Diego, but I had a whole lot of my friends, over 20 of the homies from my neighborhood living out there with me at this time. At this time, we were selling a lot of drugs. We had a lot of money, and people was coming from Compton and Long Beach to San Diego to sell our drugs. So we had about 7, 8 of us, and then about 3 or 4 or 5 people from San Diego. We watched that movie together, and I ended up getting into it with some Samoan Bloods after that movie. That was a nice movie, man. I like that. We thought that was a great movie. And I noticed a lot of people started banging after that, but we was gang banging way before Colors. But a lot of people started banging after Colors. Colors was a good movie, man. I like Colors, man. I like that one. Along with Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society. And I really like Menace because I went to that school. L.A. Jordan is where they filmed that. I went to that school. I used to dress like that guy, and people used to say I used to favor that guy back in the day when I had my little Boys and Men curls and stuff. So it was crazy. But I liked them. But yeah, Colors was the shit, man. I enjoyed that.
So let's talk about music, man. You were present for a very big moment in hip hop history that eventually came out of one of the biggest songs. When I heard this song, when I'm taking myself back to, I was 9 or 10 years old because I was born in '78. So if my memory serves me correct, it was maybe 9 or 10 when I first heard this dude named EAZY. And I was like, oh shit, I need more of this. I had already heard the Fat Boys and I heard Run DMC and Rakim, but I was like, but when I heard EAZY, I was like, oh shit, I love this dude. And not only that, it was Boys in the Hood. Now I bring that up because you have an involvement kind of in Boys in the Hood, maybe not even indirectly or directly, whatever. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but tell me the story. Tell me your Boys in the Hood story. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Okay, so in our neighborhood, we on the other side of Greenleaf, so we consider the north side of Long Beach. So our neighborhood starts on Greenleaf and goes all the way down to North Long Beach, But Eric used to come over there, and like I said, his girlfriend at the time was Joyce, who he has her son name is Derek. I think they call him EZ3 now, Derek Wright. But this is when they didn't have a kid; they were just dating. And her best friend was Gail. Her boyfriend name was Raymond. These 2 guys were the biggest, to me, the dope dealers that I knew. So they was competing. So, Eric was trying to get us to get rid of his stuff, and Raymond was trying to get us to get rid of his stuff. But EAZY was like, man, I'm going to make a record label, Keith. Because I had 2 brothers, and one named Kevin, what they call him Kalo, and one named Jeffrey, what they call J-Bo. And they used to rap. And these guys used to rap all the time. This is 86. And all the homies used to tell them, y'all can't make no raps. Y'all cuss too much. Because my brothers used to always cuss in their raps. back then, cussing was not getting on no radio play.
Yeah.
All the homeboys, and they used to rap for Eric. Eric used to make us tapes. Like, we used to go to his house. A lot of people don't know Eric was a DJ of some sort. He used to make us mixtapes. And
I don't think I even knew that.
Yeah, he used to make us mixtape. We'd go to his house. He'll say your girlfriend name. And we'll say our girlfriend name in a microphone, and he'll record it with a voice like that. It was that back then, that song Bug On Out with bug, 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 bug. So he recorded, and we go home and we show that to our girlfriend. Oh, we getting coochie for a week. We done made a song with her name in it. He'd do that, man. And so we used to listen to him on new records, and he said, man, I'm finna get into the music business. So I used to sing. I still sing, actually. And my brother name was rapper. So this day, he came to the Boulevard, which is my neighborhood. He picked me up. He picked my brother up. And he picked this other guy named Roderick who used to beatbox. Back then, he was a beatbox. He used to beatbox like the Fat Boy. But I got another guy I introduced, Eric, who I think he put on that song, L.A. is a Place. I'm not sure, but I think that's the guy I introduced, Eric. He was a whole different beatbox dude. And I called Eric, and Eric came. Eric picked that dude up and said, we're going to the studio right now. And I never heard from him again. But he's the one that was beatboxing on L.A. is a Place.
Okay.
That song. I think that's him. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's the dude because this dude was a bad beatboxing dude. And he wasn't even from our neighborhood. I just met him like maybe a week before, and he used to beatbox. And I said, yeah, well, I got a buddy named Eric that does music. So this happened. We ended up going to, now I'm not sure if it was Dre's house or Lonzo's, but it was the last day of the LA street scene in '86. This was the last time they had it in LA because they was gang fights or gang violence or something.
What was the LA street scene, fam? Is that the LA County Fair?
That's what the LA County Fair was back then. Was called the LA.
Ah, okay. Before they moved it to Pomona because of the gangs.
It was the last day. The last time they had it. This was the last day of it. We ended up because we were going to that house to look at the premiere of look at all these roaches, the claymation by Bobby Jimmy and the Critics did or something like that. We were going there, and plus he wanted to introduce me to Dre. So I can sing for him because he wanted me to put him on lip, and he wanted my brothers and him to rap. So when we got there was nobody there. It was just us and E. And I think I'm not sure if the dudes from HBO was there, but I remember getting
we got to
there.
break this down real quick. Sorry for everybody who doesn't know, because HBO Homeboys Only are the ones who originally were supposed to do the Boys in the Hood song until EAZY ended up doing it with Dre, right?
Exactly.
Yep. And there's a famous scene in Straight Outta Compton. Were they really from New York, or do you remember that part?
Jersey. I think they were from New Jersey.
Okay.
But I remember they was dressed like LL Cool J. One of them had a all turquoise on with turquoise Pumas, turquoise a Kango hat. The other one had on burgundy Pumas. And my brother had on a shirt that said Kev Dog. No disrespect to the blood, but BK. And they was like, what are you? You from Brooklyn? He's like, no, this means, BK.
No.
So we ended up having words with them because they were supposed to do the song, and then they started disrespecting Compton. My brother got a Jerry curl and this and that, and we like, what? I'm like, hey, bro, that's my little brother. So at this time, Dre Man was here, and then and we never even got. I don't even think we even got to sing or me do anything. But they was like, man. So they was trying to do the song. I was just, and it's kind of vague about what really happened, but I remember this part. They didn't know what a 6-4 was. They didn't know what ganking. He was saying ganking. So they was like, man, we don't want to do this song because if we go back to the East Coast, they gonna know somebody from California wrote a song for us. So basically, they was getting disrespectful. Me and my brother got up and we was ready to fight them. So they was like, man, we ain't got to do that. We out of here. So then they left, and that's the part of the movie that I said, me and my brother actually got into it with these cats. My brother Kevin and myself, we got into it with them cats. I remember like it was yesterday. And Dre was like, damn, EAZY, what's going on? What your boys come to do? They come to do music or do they come to gang bang? And EAZY, he said, or Eric, he said, I guess they came to do both. And I remember, and so, and he said, well, now ain't nobody to do the song. And they was like, well, E, won't you try it? Eric, I remember specifically, he said, man, I ain't no motherfucking rapper. I sell dope. I'm a dope dealer. And then we was like, man, try it, Eric, try it. He tried. You know, he was like, nah. And then he grabbed a paper. He did it. He was doing it like he was playing bullshit. And he was like, you know, messing up on purpose, basically. And then Dre kept putting it on him. Come on, man, do it like this, do it like that. Next thing you know, he did it. He got mad. He grabbed it. He did it for real. And like the movie said, we all looked and said, man, that shit was hard. It was like cruising down the street in my 6'4", jocking the bitches, slapping the hoe. We was like, damn, that shit is hard. And yep, and that's what happened, bro. Me and my brother was there. That was the first time he ever did that. But you know, I know it's Hollywood and they got to make. But yeah, and then Lonzo might remember that.
Yeah, that had to be Lonzo's house then, because they definitely recorded it there. So that was 100% Lonzo's house.
This was the first time that he did it. So I'm not saying they recorded that actual time, but this is the first time they asked him to do it.
Gotcha.
So I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know where they recorded it. I'm sure, but this is when we actually ran off them dudes from HBO. I remember their names. One name was Fadden and one name was Latin, and that wasn't on the movie, so I wouldn't know this.
Damn, say those names again.
Fadden and Latin.
Satin and Latin.
Yep.
I want all my hip hop fans out there, not my hip hop fans, my hip hop nerds, my hip hop enthusiasts, go down that rabbit hole, because my man is telling the truth right now. Satin and Latin. Look that shit up.
HBO, and I'm thinking they were from Jersey. I'm not sure they were from New York. I think they were from Jersey, but HBO, it was from Homeboys only, and they were EAZY group. And I think Q wrote. And I know for sure that day, Rand wasn't even in that studio at that time. He wasn't in the studio when we did that. Rand wasn't there. Because I rode with EAZY in his Jeep. That's when they had those, what them Jeeps were called back in the day?
Suzuki?
Suzuki. I rode
Samurai.
We rode with him in that Jeep. We rode with him in that Jeep, man. And I remember it like it was yesterday. And because Eric used to stop us on the street when we was out there selling drugs. Hey, man, listen to this. I got a new record, and play all the records, all the cuts, all the stuff after that. And he told me, Keith, I want to sign you. Do not go to San Diego. Mind you, I'm 16. The guy who I came out here with was paying us at that time in Long Beach $300 a week to sell dope for him. This is 86, 85. So you giving me $300 a week to sell dope plus anything extra that I get, which is like maybe $1,000 a week, I can keep to myself and just give him his. So back then, it wasn't heard of for nobody really from our neighborhood to own no record label. So we was like, I'm trying to get this money now. And he was like, don't go to San Diego. Don't go to San Diego. But I said, I'm just down the street, man. When you get it together and you ready, I can come back home. Because my boy was moving to San Diego. He said, I'm going to give you $500 if you come to San Diego with me. And not only that, when you get off the Greyhound, I'm going to hand you $500 cash in your hand. I'm 16, man. Nobody was making that kind of money in my neighborhood. So I took the offer and end up going out there, coming out here. I end up going to jail on my way to court in 87. I see EAZY and NWA performing at the Civic Center. I'm handcuffed. I said, God damn. My boy made it. And he actually called, he actually came to the hood where we at out here. They brought him out here. He came and kicked it with us, with them, while he did his show, before he did his show. But yeah, man, that's how that happened. Yep. And I was like, man. But I always said that God has his ways, man. I would never have my 11 kids if I had 2. I had 9 more kids out here if I would. But I always wondered what would have happened if I'd have stayed out there and sung, man. Because I still sing, man. I love to sing, and I don't like to talk about the dead, but I was doing that Nate Dogg stuff way before Nate Dogg was, man. If you talk to any of my homies from my neighborhood, they'll tell you I was singing on the porch, cussing.
It's a Long Beach thing, right? Like we were just smooth like that. Because even Domino, like there was like Long Beach just had this. Yeah, man, that's dope.
Remember Domino too? Yeah, even Domino was doing it before Nate. You know what I'm saying? But it's like people, they don't know who do it first, but he made it famous. Like, because a lot of people didn't even want R&B in their singing and stuff, man. But yeah, man, because I think I was supposed to be going to sing with, I don't know if it was Michelle A or was it the girl before her that sung I Don't Want to Be Lovers Before We're Friends, because a lot of people don't know that. Mona Lisa. A lot of people don't know that that song came out before you turn off the light, and it actually sounds alike. Both of them songs sound alike. But we was bumping that, man, back in the day, because that's when bumping that, you know, LA Dream Team, the LA Wrecking Crew, all them cats was what we listened to before we started listening to really rap. Besides Sugar Hill Gang, you know, I grew up with on them, man. Ice-T, Tidy T, Mixmaster Spade, Mixmaster Ken. I grew up on that, man. And my brother and them really wanted to rap, and while they rap, I sing, and we was like that, man. But you know, it didn't happen. But yeah, man, I remember that, man. That's my boy, man. My boy.
Man, rest in peace, Easy E. And thank you so much, Big Capone, for sharing your story, man. Is there any shout outs you want to give, man? The floor is yours, dude.
Man, I just want to shout out to all of y'all out there doing this positive stuff, man. That's a good thing, man. And I like to see when the B's and the C's get together, man, and stop all that beef. I'm seeing a lot of podcasts where it's still a little beef, but it's a lot of Bloods and Crips together, and ain't no beefing. And that's how I was. See, that's how I was when they started saying CC Rider. We was all one, man, and that's really when I stopped banging. When we Crips started killing Crips too much, I said, man, I don't want to be part of that no more. So I left it alone. But I like to see that, man. And shout out to Melly Mel, man, Kev Mack,
the Hood Postman, Kev Mack, the GOAT.
Gertz, man, you, man. I shout out to that. Just, man, y'all stay positive, man, and stay out the way like me, man. I came out here. I got a big homie out here that's doing great, man. He got out of the penitentiary, got out of jail, been out here for about 15, 20 years doing this thing. He's my big homie. I ain't gonna say his name because he don't like the social media, but we out here chilling, man. We getting it together, trying to take care of our families and do the right thing, bro.
Thank you, Big Capone. I would love to have you on in the near future, man. I love your vibe, and I would just love to have you maybe come on every once in a while and drop some positive gems on my show, man. Can I hit you up in a few months?
Anytime, man. Anytime. My boy out there, Sleepy from my neighborhood, he finna start a podcast, and we trying to get it together. I'm gonna probably be on there. I'm gonna come out there always, probably once or twice a week, man. So I'll be out there and
connect me with Sleepy, man. I'll give him some love, to maybe help him get his numbers up at the beginning.
Exactly. He's trying to start, and he asked me to do that too. So I'm gonna text you his number.
Please do, and give him mine. Feel free to give him mine. It's official. Give him mine and just tell him Capone sent me.
I got you, man. I will do. I appreciate you giving me the time, man. And like I told y'all, that's a true story, man. I don't remember everything verbatim, but I don't lie to kick it. If you contact anybody from North Long Beach, they'll tell you what it is. I got pictures of Easy that y'all have never seen before. When he was young, little, that's my boy, man. I used to go to his mama house with him. He had a crate full of records in his garage and used to make us tapes. Like I said, he was a DJ. He used to make us mixtapes. A lot of people don't know that, but that's my boy, man.
Man.
Rest in peace, man.
And I to the great.
Because ain't nobody he had a babies by habit. That's a whole other story.
Break it. Hey, I wouldn't mind if you took a couple minutes to break that down, because you're not the first person who thinks that, man. You know, because AIDS was big, right? We got Magic. He came out about the same time that he had AIDS, and he's still kicking today. He's still doing. But when you hear Easy is died of AIDS, what was your thought, homie, when you first heard that? I need your opinion before we bounce.
Bullshit, or somebody stuck him with something, because I know Eric. I know a lot of females he was dealing with, even my homegirl, and none of his kids came out with. And wasn't his wife actually pregnant when he died?
I believe so.
So, man, that's some bullshit, man. That's some bullshit. And I also want to make a comment about, I don't know who said it. Was it Keefe D but even though Eric wasn't really a gangbanger. Eric hung out with Crips, but he wasn't really out there talking about cuz this, cuz that. But like Keefe D, one thing he said, if them dudes would have tried to come push up on E, they'd have had hell, because Easy had the back of Compton, at least from the seaside, no matter what, because he was our homie.
Many people say that, so I don't believe that scene in Straight Outta Compton, because I've heard too many people on my show with their own words who were there that said if they even put a finger anywhere near Eazy-E, it would have been really bad for them.
It wasn't going to be pretty, and if that did happen, he didn't tell nobody. Put it that way, because I put it like that. If it happened, he didn't tell nobody, because he had too much backup, man. He had to. I had homeboys in the penitentiary that Easy used to send videos and pictures of his parties, And they loved him just for doing that for him. They didn't even have to send him no money. You know what I'm saying? He's just looking out, showing the pictures of the girls at the pool and stuff when homies doing 15, 10 years in the pen. They loved E just for that. And man, it wouldn't have been easy. I'm not saying nobody can be touched, but it would have been some hell to pay. Believe me.